Classical rhetorician Plato once said, "If you want me to give a 2-hour presentation, I can do it right now. If you want me to prepare for a 5-minute talk, then you're going to have to give me 2 weeks." I wanted to share this quotation with you because it really resonates with the speech making process and the importance of practice and organizing your ideas before you present. So, what I wanted to do is to ensure that you are set up for success for your first speech. I wanted to talk about a few elements of the first speech called the three speech. So first, I just want to tell you to make sure to read the assignment page for more details because I'm just going to highlight a few important things. And then I'm going to go over the requirements for lab and for the video. Now, in order to start the speech, what you need to do is you need to select a topic. How do you select the topic? Well, you're going to have to pick something reflective and personal to you. This speech is about you and your experience. And the point of the first speech is really to take something you already know or have experience or have some foundation about and put it in an organized fashion and deliver it as a presentation. Please look at the sample speeches, and you'll see a variety of different topics from role models, favorite books, you know, people's dream jobs to, their experiences and school or, coming to United States and learning the new culture. Other people have given speeches about maybe an anime character or a celebrity that they admire and 3 reasons why. Okay. Next, the speech is going to include 3 important components. Make sure you read the assignment page to get more details, but I just wanted to go over a few. The first part of a speech is going to be an introduction. The second, you need the body. And finally, you're going to have a conclusion. Let me first talk about the introduction. The purpose of an introduction is to hook the audience in, tell them what the topic is about, and let them know your content. So, the first aspect of an introduction is an attention getter. There are multiple introduction methods, but for this speech specifically, you are going to choose a quotation that resonates with your topic or your theme. All right. So, if your speech is about fear, then guess what? You're going to find a topic or quotation that revolves around this idea of fear. Next important component of an introduction is connecting with the audience. And what I mean by connecting with the audience is you need to get the buy in of the audience and relate the information to them. So, how does this topic that you're talking about relate to the audience in a general way or maybe something more specific? So, with the fear example, we can relate to the audience by sharing that fear is a natural human experience and emotion, and there's different types. And today, your thesis, which is the next point, will be about your 3 greatest fears. I just told you about the thesis. And basically, I wanted to define the thesis for you. And a thesis basically is a 1 sentence summary of your speech or your topic. It's your main point, right? So make sure that you have that one main idea that is basically the main theme of your entire content. After you identify a thesis, you're going to have a preview. The preview is critical because the preview is kind of a roadmap to what you're going to be talking about. So, watch the videos and see the outline examples for examples of previews. Make sure that you have a preview because it's going to help reduce the audience's uncertainty quite a bit if they know what you're going to talk about and what to expect as you progress into your speech. After you complete the introduction, next is the body or the content of the speech. The body of the speech will include your three main ideas. All right, the three things you're going to talk about or focus on. With the fear speech, what are the three main fears that you want to talk about? Maybe your fear of heights, maybe your fear of insects, and maybe your fear of failure. And if you do that, you're going to develop each main point with a lot of details based on your experience and your analysis. I want to make sure that you tell us what it is in each of the main points, but also maybe like what you learned or give us some critical feedback on like how it's affected you or, what you're going to do next. Okay. In between each main point, it's important to have a transition statement. So, what I mean by that is once you're done with the main point and you're done talking about your fear of heights, you need to let the audience know that you're moving on to another point, right? Which is your fear of insects. So, you need a transition statement. It's kind of like a bridge between two ideas. Look at the outlines and watch the speeches to identify different types of transitions. In the outline format that I give you, I've identified and written out um, transitions that you can use. All you have to do is insert your own like words or your own topic. The reason why I did this is because I want us to be familiar with the foundation or the blueprint of the speech. And once we're familiar with the format, then we can kind of add our own flair to it. So once you're done with the body of the speech, which includes your three main points and transitions in between each main point, you're going to have to conclude your speech. Conclusion is critical because it wraps everything up. It lets the audience know your speech is at the coming to an end. The components of a conclusion is very similar to the components of an introduction. The first thing you need to do in a conclusion is you need to signal that your speech is coming to an end. So that might be something like, in conclusion, to wrap up, finally. Okay. Then the other elements, including like reviewing your speech or having a review statement, is similar to a preview. Having to restate your thesis, similar to the introduction, is critical to remind the audience of your main point and your theme. And finally, you need to close with impact. What does closing with impact mean? There's different ways you can close with impact, similarly to an introduction. But for this speech, I want you to end with a quotation. Just like you started the speech with a quotation, you're going to end the speech with a quotation. All right. You have two options for quotations. You can use the same quotation you did at the beginning, and you're just going to wrap it up and refer back to it again and make that connection. Or number two, you can pick a completely different quotation as long as it resonates still with your topic and use that quotation and explain it at the end. So these are the components of the speech, which is an introduction, body, and conclusion, and how you're going to organize it. The next thing I want to talk about are the requirements. So there's time requirements, which include 3 to 5 minutes. Whoops, sorry, the speech is actually supposed to be 3 to 4 minutes. It used to be 5 minutes, but I changed it to 4. So make sure that you meet between that time frame. Okay, that's why practicing your speech, writing it out is key because it's going to help you be concise in your message. Next, I want you to use note cards for your speech, or you can give your speech extemporaneously. What I don't want you to do is read your speech from the screen or read your outline. And guess what? I'm going to be able to tell. Next, talking about outlines, you are required to turn in a full sentence outline for this speech, and your quotations that you use at the beginning and at the end need to be referenced in APA format at the end of the speech as your works cited. So wherever you get the reference, make sure to tell us the website you got it from, the textbook you got it from, the audio you got the quotation from. It doesn't matter, but I just want us to practice citing sources for our upcoming speech. Finally, there's a video requirement. The video requirement is pretty important to remember because it's going to be similar for almost all speeches, which means you're going to have to make sure that your speech is captioned, which is why I want you to upload it in YouTube and automatically captions it for you. And then you can do some minor edits. Also, you need to present standing up. Okay. Next, if you're going to use note cards, I need to be able to see your note cards in your hand or show them to me. And finally, this is really critical and part of the requirement for all public speaking classes, and that is you need an audience. For this speech, you're going to need at least 4 audience members. I know it's going to be difficult, but you have 2 options. You can have a physical audience present, or you can do a virtual audience. So for the physical audience, the audience needs to be gathered and you need to present in front of that audience. And I need to be able to see the audience that you're presenting to. And second, if you don't have the capacity to have a physical audience of 5, then you can actually do a Zoom presentation with 5 or more audience members on Zoom. And I need to be able to see all the audience members on Zoom, and they should be paying attention to you. All right. It's really critical that they're just not bodies and they're actually just listening to your speech, or at least pretending to, for my sake. All right. The last thing I really want to talk about is the lab requirements. So, for the lab requirement, you do need to get your outline checked and practice your speech 48 hours prior to the speech due date. Make sure that you go to the lab and get help and take the feedback you get from the outline and from the comments from practicing your speech and incorporate it before you record. So today we went over, the requirements of the speech, how to organize your speech, the video requirements, time requirements, and lab requirements. I want you to review the sample outlines, like I mentioned before, and the speeches, because it can give you some great ideas of topics, and be yourself. That's all I want you to do. And I don't want you to cut and paste your speeches together. All right. I want you to just do it. I know it's hard, but just do a run through. You might have to record 2 or 3 times, but eventually just turn it in. As long as you have the main elements of the speech, we can always work on it for the next time. So, good luck, practice, do well, turn it in on time. That's a quote by me, and you can cite me on it. Have a good day. Do the best you can. I look forward to watching your speech.